Good morning, students.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. Let me share my screen. You're all able to see my screen? Can anyone confirm, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So let's continue with where we stopped in the last class. The last class we started off with the transaction processing. We went into the introduction of what exactly is transaction and okay. So we started with what is transaction, why do we require it, what is transaction processing system. We saw some examples on that, and we also saw what are some of the operations that can be dealt with when in case of a transaction, right? So let us try to continue with what we stopped. We also saw some differences between interleaving a process and what do we mean by a concurrent process, and we took some examples and we tried to understand that as well, right? Then let us move forward. So now today we are going to learn about, today is 17th. Right. So today we will learn about why concurrency control is required. Why concurrency control is needed. Now, concurrency control means, I also already told you that concurrency control means what? There are DBMS which are used by multiple users. Okay, so when multiple users are simultaneously trying to access that database, everybody should be able to access that database without any hassles. And so that is the reason which cannot be actually managed manually, but you need to have some kind of a software module in order to deal with this simultaneous access of the database by multiple thousands or hundreds of thousands of users. That is why you require a concurrency control module. And what are the other issues apart from this? Yes, please. Any doubts? Anusha, mute yourself. Yeah. So what did I say? Yeah. So I was telling you what exactly is concurrency control and why it is required. Concurrency control means, to repeat again, you have a DBMS. Let's say you have a multi-user DBMS where there are hundreds and thousands of users. Concurrent control, concurrency means what? All these hundred users or thousands of users are not going to use the database one by one. Okay, first I will use, then the second person will use, and then the third person will use. It is not going to be like that. It is like everybody is going to use or use at the same time. So when all are multiple or many of them are using the accessing the database at the same time, then how do you try to manage the simultaneous usage of that particular database? Okay, so for that, this cannot be managed manually, but you can try to bring in some kind of a software component which we call it as concurrency control. Now, apart from this, what I told you as exactly what is exactly a concurrency control, there are also certain issues that we'll have to deal with when we are trying to talk about concurrency control. The first issue that we'll have to deal with is the lost update problem. Okay. Then the second issue that we'll have to deal with is the temporary update, or we call it as the dirty read problem. Okay. Then the third issue that we'll have to deal with is the incorrect summary problem. Incorrect summary problem. These are the three issues that you will have to deal with, which is why we require what is called as concurrency control. Now, these are the three different issues that we'll have to deal with, which is why we require concurrency control. Now, what are these three different issues? Let us look into each one of them with an example, and then we will go further into this, right? Now you will, first of all, before I go into these problems, we'll be, let us say, this is an example of a particular transaction. Let us say T1. You have another example of a transaction, let us say T2. How does it look like? Now, whenever I say a transaction, in the last class, we said that there is going to be two important operations in any transaction. One is read item of X, the other one is write item of X. These two operations will be there for sure in any transaction that you are going to deal with. That means you want to read something, you also want to update something. Apart from this, there can be any other operations as well. So for example, let us say we have read item of X. Okay, and then I have X is equal to X minus N. Write item of X. What am I doing here? Then I will have, let us say, I'm writing something like read item of y. Then I can have something like y plus y is equal to y plus n. Something like this. Then I will try to write item y. So I'm reading some x value. I'm then making some changes to this value of x. X is equal to x minus n, something like that. Then I try to record this value of x. I read the value of y. I make some operations on y, and then I write this value of y. Okay. Again, here, this is one set of operations that we are trying to do, which is called one transaction. Right. Now, I am trying to do, let us take an example of another transaction. So read item of X, then I will say X is equal to X plus M. And then I will say write item of X. So this is again another set of operations that we are going to perform. I am reading some value of X, trying to update it with some value of M, some value I'm adding to that, and then I'm trying to write that value. So these are some examples of transactions that I'm showing you. This T1 is one kind of transaction. T2 is another kind of transaction. Why I'm showing you this is, these are the kind of transactions now that we will be dealing with when we are dealing with these three problems. So I'll be considering these three problems, these kind of transactions for making you understand what these three problems are. Now, what is the database that we are we are going to consider for these dealing with these issues? Let us take an example of airline reservation system. Okay, so when I say airline reservation system, or let us say I'm taking a airline reservation database. So this airline reservation database, we are going to store one record for each flight. That means for each airline flight, I'm going to store one record. That means all the details of a flight are stored in a particular, each of the record is going to give me details of each of these flights. So, what to say? Yeah. So that is, let's take it at that. airline reservation database. Now we will move on to the first problem. What is our first problem? The last update problem. Okay. Now we'll try to understand why do we need to go in for a concurrency control? Because there can be a lost update problem. We need to have a concurrency control module. What is this lost update problem? Okay, let us see that. Any questions so far? Any doubts? Anyone? Any questions till here? Okay. If there are no queries, I will proceed. Let me change the sheet. Okay. All right. So the first problem that we are going to consider here is the lost update problem. Concurrency control basically means what? If there are two users accessing the same database, both should be able to get the correct data at their point of time. There cannot be any kind of inconsistency. It should not be there. There should not be any kind of ambiguity, right? That is what you call it as concurrency control. Duty of concurrency control is to do that. Now, let me take a simple example. I will take one transaction T1. This is my T1. Okay. I have certain operations here. Let's say read item of X. Then X is equal to, I am trying to do X minus N. Okay. Then what do I do is, let me also take another transaction T2. The transaction T2 will start reading X now, right? And then you have X is equal to X plus M. And then after this, what is happening? We try to write this right item of X, read item of Y. After this, I write something like this. It goes on. Okay. Transactions will continue. Now, what is happening here if you observe? The transaction T1, see, suppose this transaction T1 and T2 are submitted at the same time. And suppose their operations are interlinked. Okay. Then the final value of X will actually be will be incorrect in this case. Why we feel so is because if you look into this particular transaction.
Ma'am, someone are waiting, ma'am.
Yeah? Someone is waiting. I'm not finding anyone waiting here. I have admitted all of them. No one is waiting. No one is waiting here. I've admitted everybody. Right? Okay. So what I was doing here, first here in this case, lost update problem means something that is getting updated is actually lost. Suppose let me take X here in this case. The value of X is, let us say, what can I take it as? 80. Okay, we'll start with 80. So this read item of X means when T1 reads the value of X, X is going to be 80. All right. Then what does X do? X is equal to X minus N. What does T1 do? T1 does X is equal to X minus N. Let me take N to be 5. Okay. So what will happen? X will now become 75. Now, this is a point that you will have to observe. T1 has made some updations to the value of X. The value of X is 75. Okay. But the write statement is still not executed by T1. That means the value of X is still not written by T1 into the memory, let us say. Meanwhile, what is happening? Another transaction is executing in between. What this transaction T2 does observe here in this time, this is your time. This is your time. Okay, similarly, this is the time. What's happening here in this gap? There is some time gap between he has made T1 has made the updation. That means the value of x has become 75 at this point. Before the value of x is written as 75, that means the value variable x should be updated by 75 now. It is not written still. Before it is written, what does T2 does? T2 reads the value of x. So what will T2 read now? Can you tell me? What will be the value that T2 will read? Can you tell me that? Anyone? Yes? Anyone? What will be the value that T2 will read? What will be the value of x that T2 will read?
80, ma'am.
75. Yes, ma'am, 75.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, 75. T1 value.
80, ma'am.
75 or is it 80? What will happen now? See, listen here. See what's happening. I said first T1 starts with the execution, correct? That time x is 80. So it will read the value of 80. So T1 is reading the value of x as 80. Then what T1 does? T1 does does some kind of updation. So yeah, T1 is doing some kind of updation wherein x is equal to x minus n. Let us say you are trying to book some 5 tickets. N is your 5. So 5 x is your number of seats that are available in that flight. So x will now become 75. But this 75 has not got recorded into the system. Before it is written, the value should be written. Only then it is updated. Before it is written, T2 will read it. So when T2 reads the value of x is still 80, not 75. X has been changed up, but it is not recorded or updated into the memory. Okay, so yeah, T2 will read it as x. What T2 does? T2 adds some seats, some reservations. He adds it. So what will happen? X will become x is equal to, let me take m as 4. Some value. Okay, so 80 is equal to x is equal to 80 plus 4. That will become 84 now. Okay, so now final value of x is now 84, which is actually wrong. It should have been 79. Because 75 was the value. If it was written, then T2 would have read the 75 as the value. To 75, if you add 4, then it will become 79. So the value, exact value of x should now be 79, which is the right value. But it is actually now 84, which is wrong. Why? That is nothing but called as your lost update. The update that was made, this update which was made is lost. Because there was some gap between the updation to be done by T1 and the reading to be done, or the writing to be done by T1 and the reading to be done by T2. Okay, that is why this problem or error has occurred. That is what you call it as lost update problem. If there is no concurrency control module involved, then these kind of errors will occur. Before, though T1 has read the value of x, he has made some modifications to the value of x, but write item of x was delayed slightly by T1. Before the x was written by T1, T2, what that transaction T2 started its execution. So T2, what it did, it read the value of x. This 75 is not recorded still. So T2 will still read the value of x as 80. To that 80, it is adding m. M is 4. So now it will become 84. So the update that was done by T1 is somewhere lost. That is why you call it as the last update problem. Any doubts? Clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am. Clear.
The next problem that I had put down is the temporary update or you call it as dirty read. The temporary update or the dirty read problem. Okay. Now let us see what will happen. What happens in case of this problem will occur? Suppose when one of the transaction is updating a database item. Okay. So in the previous example, last update problem, we saw that transaction is T1 is updating X. Correct? Like that, suppose let us say one of the transaction is updating any database item. After updating the database item, let us say the transaction fails for some reason. So then what will happen? This updated item is getting accessed by another transaction before it is changed back to its original value. See, when a transaction fails, it has to be rolled back. Whatever operations were done, it has to be rolled back and the system has to be brought to the to the previous state before the failure. Whatever was the state, it should be brought to that state. If you don't do that, then there can be this kind of temporary update problem. For example, let me show you. Let me take again two transactions. This is read item of X. Okay. T1 is reading some item X and then it is going to update the item X. And it will also, let us say, write that item. Write the item X. Why you are all joining so late? Yeah, it is already 12:15. You don't have to join only. Better. Okay. So what I said, read item of X, and then what T1, what is it doing? Read item. It is reading the value X. It is doing some updations for X. X is equal to X minus N. Okay. Then it writes the value of X also. Then let us say it is failed. So it has updated something, but it has failed. The transaction may not have been complete. We never know whether it was completed, it was not completed, nothing we know. Meanwhile, what will happen after this write item of X, this transaction T2, it will come and start reading this X, let us say. Okay, then it will also do some updation. X is equal to X plus M and it will also do the write item of X. Okay. Now, what is happening here? T1 updates the item X and then it fails before completion. So we never know whether this transaction is complete or not. We don't know. After writing this item X, transaction T1 has failed for some reason. Okay, so what the system should do, it should change the X back to its original value. It should undo this operation, roll back. Suppose X was, let me take the same value, 18. And then T1 has updated the value of X to be 75, where N is 5. Since it has failed, transaction has failed. So what the system should do, it should undo this updation operation. It should roll back to the previous value. So it should bring the system back to the previous state. If that doesn't happen, this transaction T2 will read before the system has undone this value. What has happened? T2 has read this particular value. Now this X we call it as the temporary read. We call it as the temporary value of x, which will not be recorded permanently in the database. Because why? Because the transaction T1 has failed. This value of item x, which is read by T2, suppose x is 75 and that is read by T2, that is called as dirty data. Because it has been created by a transaction that has not completed and committed. You have not committed that, and that transaction is not complete. Hence, this problem you call it as dirty read problem. Any doubt? Okay, so this temporary date update or the dirty read problem will occur when one transaction updates a database item and then the transaction will fail off. It has failed for some reason. This updated item is now accessed by another transaction before it is changed back to the original value. That is the whole problem here. Before the value of x is gone back to 80, the system has to do that. Before it is done, if transaction T2 is going to access this x, that is when you call it as the x as the dirty data. And this problem you call it as the dirty read problem. If there was a concurrency control system in place, this kind of a problem can be avoided, wherein you will not allow T2 to access x at all. So T2 may not have been given an option to access x. That way, you could have avoided the dirty read problem. So that is one reason why we require a concurrency control technique, or concurrency control is required for this being one of the reasons. Okay. Any questions? Any doubts at this point of time?
Ma'am, can you explain that once, ma'am? Temporary update.
Which one, ma'am?
Ma'am, temporary update.
Temporary update. Okay. See, temporary update, or you call it as dirty read problem. When this problem will come, when you have two transactions, T1 and T2. When one transaction updates a database item, some database item it is updating, and then the transaction will fail off. So if a transaction fails, what the system should do? It should roll back all the operations that it has done. That means it has made some changes. Here, what is happening? Look here. T1 is a transaction. It reads a data item X. It reads the value of X. Let us say X is 80. It reads that. Then what it is doing? X is equal to X minus N. So now X will become 75. Right? Then what it does? It writes the value of X. Till then it is fine. So now X is recorded as 75. After doing this, the transaction has failed. Okay. So, what should the system do now? Whenever a transaction fails, it should undo the operations of T1 and bring the value of X back to 80 because transaction T1 has failed. Now, before the rollback is done, one more transaction T2, it will do these operations. What is it doing? It system has still not rolled back. So value of X is still now, it is now 75 only. So it will read, T2 will read X as 75. And X is equal to X plus M it will do. So value will become 79 or whatever, depending on the value of M. And then it will write the value of X. This is wrong. Because this data is a temporary data. This value of X which has got recorded is not recorded permanently in the database because T1 has failed. This value of the item of X which is read by T2, you call it as dirty data or the temporary update.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah. Any questions on this? The second issue that we have discussed. Okay. So the next issue is, the third issue I had put down is the incorrect summary problem. What is this incorrect summary problem? Incorrect summary. So means if one transaction is calculating an aggregate summary function on a number of records, suppose you have so many records and you are calculating the aggregate on that. While you have another transaction which is updating some records, then what will happen? Updation is still not complete, but you are going on doing the aggregation or you are going on taking the summary. So that means you are going to lose out some data. Let us see an example. Okay. Suppose T2 is taking the summary. So I will have to take the summary. I'll write sum is equal to 0. Then I'm writing read item of first item I'm going to take. Okay, I'll add that to sum. Sum is equal to sum plus A. Okay, like that I go on taking each of the, I'll read one item, add it to the sum so that I get the summary or I get the final sum, aggregate sum. Okay, this is what T2 is doing. Meanwhile, what T1 is doing, let us see. T1, let us say, it is reading an item X. Then X is equal to X minus N. Some updation it is doing. Write item of X. Okay, something like that is happening. Here then what happens after some time? T2 will read that X again. Right? And then let us say it will add that X to sum. It is reading every item, adding every item to sum so that I get the consolidated sum. Then I am reading Y. And then let us say I am also adding that sum is equal to sum plus Y. Like this, I go on calculating the consolidated sum. That is the job of transaction T2. Okay. T1 is going on doing some updations, mind you. So what will happen here? Now let us say after this, I will again, T1 will read the item of Y, suppose. And then I do some updation here. Y is equal to Y plus N. And then I'll write the value of Y. What's happening? Can anybody tell me? What's happening in this case? See here, what is happening here? T3 or T2 rather, this it is reading X after N is subtracted. Okay, and it reads Y before your N is added. So there is something wrong in the summary. You have already added the value of Y to your sum. But on the other hand, if you see here, Y is getting updated by T1. You are reading Y here, let us say Y is 10. Okay, and your sum is equal to sum plus 10, you are adding it. Let's say sum is 100, 100 plus 10, you are getting 110. But here, after you do this, what is happening on the other side? On the T1 side, what's happening? You are reading Y. Let us say Y is 10. Okay. And you are adding some N to that. So Y will become 15. And then you are writing Y as 15. Now value of Y has changed. But you have added only 10. But you should have actually added 15. So this sum is wrong. That is what you call it as the incorrect summary problem. This is also because of this issue, you require a concurrency control module. Any doubts, any questions? You are not able to follow this part? Any questions on this?
Ma'am, can you please repeat this again?
Okay. See, I'm talking of one of the problem. Incorrect summary problem means, let us say we have two transactions. Let us say one transaction is calculating the summary, Another transaction is still updating some values. Unless the updates are over, if you are going to take the summary, obviously the summary is going to be wrong. That is the whole point about this particular example. You have two transactions which are running. One transaction is only for taking the summary of it or calculating the sum of all the data that you have. When you should do that? When all the data is completely updated. While one transaction is still updating the data, if another transaction tries to take the summation, obviously there is going to be some mismatch or there is going to be some wrong values. That is what is shown here. Look here. We have T1 and T2 are two different transactions. Okay. Now, T2 is involved in calculating the consolidated sum. So, initialize sum as 0. I will read the first item, which is A. I will add sum is equal to sum plus A. Okay, I've added it. Next, I will read, let us say B. I will add sum is equal to sum plus B, and then I get a consolidated sum. Like that, I go on doing. And then, meanwhile, like that I do for all the items. Meanwhile, what's happening on transaction T1? It is reading an item X. It is making some updations. That means X is still not final. X value has changed now. X is equal to X minus 1 and it has returned the value of X. Okay. After this is done, this is taking X. So that's as far as X is concerned, let us say it is taking the updated value only, no issues. So it takes X, sum is equal to sum plus X, X also is added, done. Next, what is it doing T2? It is accessing Y. It is adding that value of Y to sum. So let us say Y is 10. When I add it to sum, suppose by now my sum is already 100, suppose. So for that 100, I add this 10, I get 110. So my value of sum is now 110. After I do this, what transaction T1 is doing, look at that. Look at the left column again, T1. It is reading the value of Y. What is our value of Y? Y is 10. And I'm adding something to that. Y is equal to Y plus N, which is 15. And then I'm writing the value of Y. When I write the value of Y, what is my value of Y now? 15. But what I have added here? 10. So Y sum is 110. It should have been 115. That is nothing but your incorrect summary problem. When these two things are going on, that means you try to update, when you try to take a summary of a set of values before the updation is complete, your summary is going to be wrong or your summation is going to be wrong. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Any questions at this point? Any doubts, anyone? So these are, what did we discuss till now? These are the three problems as to why concurrency control is needed. Why is it required for me? Why should a DBMS system have a concurrency control module? So these are the reasons. Lost update problem is one reason. Temporary update or dirty read problem is one reason. And then we have the incorrect summary problem is one reason. Right? Let us proceed. If there are no more questions, I will go ahead. Okay. Next important question that we are going to answer is, we have put down all these questions in the last class. So the second question was why concurrency control is needed. The third question is why recovery is needed. Okay. So now, why recovery is needed? Anyone? Okay. Why is recovery needed? Recovery is required because there will always be some kind of failure. Whenever a transaction is getting executed, okay, see, when we talk of a transaction can have so many operations. Look at this previous three examples we have taken, T1 and T2. So T1 has so many operations. Reading is one operation, x is equal to x minus 1 is one operation, writing is an operation, sum is equal to sum plus item is an operation. So like that, a transaction can have many number of operations. Okay, so whenever a transaction is getting executed, the system is responsible to ensure that all the operations are completed successfully and they are recorded in the database. Either all the operations should be completed or the transaction should not have happened at all. It should, if it fails in between, then it should roll back so that nothing has happened. Either do everything or don't do anything. This principle is very important, which we call it as, we'll come back to this principle once again later on. We call it as atomicity. Atomicity means what? Either do all the operations or don't do anything. You cannot do half and half. For example, I go and withdraw my money. There are two accounts involved when I withdraw my money. Or let us say I do a transaction. I want to transfer some money to you. A transfers money to B. When A is transferring money to B, what happens? There are two accounts involved, A's account, B's account, right? A's account will get debited. B's account will get credited. Simple. That completes the operation of transferring the money. Debit the account A and credit the account B. So either do both of this and complete the transaction permanently, or don't do any of them. Okay. So you cannot say, okay, I debited but I didn't credit. I credited but I did not debit. That is wrong. After debit, if the transaction fails, you will have to roll back or you will have to undo the debit. You'll have to undo the debit. That principle is called as atomicity. Do all the operations of a transaction completely or you don't do anything only. So whenever a transaction is submitted for execution, DBMS should ensure that all the operations are completed successfully and they are recorded permanently in the database. Or it should ensure that if there is going to be a transaction failure, it should ensure that the transactions, whatever has been done half, it is all undone. It is all rolled back. And the system should look as if nothing happened only. Right? So it should not, DBMS should not allow some operations to be, some operations of a transaction to be applied and some are not applied. That will not happen. When it can happen, when it will happen, whenever a transaction fails. That's what I told you. Some operation, half transaction is over, but the system has failed. So whenever there is a failure, there has to be some kind of recovery. Okay, you cannot say the system will not fail at all. There will be a lot of failures, different types of failures. But whenever there is a failure, the database has to ensure that the system is up and running again. That is why your recovery is required. Okay, now under this, we are going to see what are the different types of failures. Failures can generally be transaction failures. Okay. It can be some system failures. It can be some connection failures, media failures. There are several reasons for a transaction to fail. I'll tell you. In the that too in the middle of an execution. Middle of execution means what? Transaction, as we have seen now, can have many number of steps. All the steps have to be completed properly and recorded. Then we say transaction is complete. If in between it fails, that means the transaction has failed. So there can be many reasons for that. Let us see what are the different types of, what are the possible reasons why a failure or why a transaction has to fail. System crash, first reason. System crash or a computer failure. Okay, a hardware error has occurred or a software error has occurred. Right, main memory has failed. Something has happened. So that is all nothing but your. So once that happens, everything fails. Is it not? System has crashed means computer has failed completely. So that could be a reason why your transaction can fail. Another error is you can have a transaction error itself. There can be a transaction or a system error. You have some operation. One of the operation there, I said there are so many operations in a transaction. You read an item and then you do an operation. You write an item. You add something. You divide something. You do so many operations within a transaction. Suppose let us say one of the step is wrong. Then it can also cause a error. Okay. For example, let us say you are doing some division by zero. One of the step is division by zero. Or some overflow is there. Integer overflow, arithmetic overflow, something is there. So even in that case, that particular transaction will fail. You have you are passing some wrong parameters. You are passing some wrong type of parameters or number of parameters are wrong. Parameter mismatch is there. There is some logical error, syntax error, anything could be there. All that can cause a transaction or a system error to occur. Or there can be an interruption from the user itself. So in that case also the transaction will fail. That's another reason why a transaction can happen. Then there can be some localized errors, local errors or exception conditions which are detected. Suppose local error means what to say. Now, certain condition may cause the transaction to, let us say, cancel. Okay, exceptions are like, you can have some account imbalance in your banking database. You don't have sufficient sufficient balance. So then, suppose you are going for a fund transfer or a fund withdrawal, and there is no proper sufficient balance in your account. So in that case, that's an exception. So that can again cause your transaction to be cancelled. That's again considered to be a local error or an exception conditions which can cause it to be failed. Okay. Then you can have something called concurrency control enforcement. So this is nothing but you are enforcing a concurrency control. That means sometimes I may abort the transaction forcefully. I will abort it. I may decide the concurrency control module which is there in your database may try to decide to abort the transaction. It wants to restart the transaction later because you have violated certain things. There are so many reasons for that. So that is nothing but your concurrency control enforcement. Then the next reason for failure could be disk failure. Some disk blocks may become corrupt. Okay, all of us would have experienced that disk blocks may become corrupt. They lose their data because of some read or write malfunctioning or read write head has crashed. So these kind of things again can cause a disk failure and all that. Then the next kind of problem, some kind of physical problems, catastrophe. This endless problem, physical problems are endless. They are some power failure, fire, then some theft, sabotage, all these things, overwriting your disks by mistake. These are all power failure is more than enough. Physical problems can also occur. So here we have listed out here around 6 types of failures. So failure type 1, the second one, third one, fourth one, these are all more common than the 5th and the 6th. Okay, so these are all the four different types of failures which can occur very frequently, very commonly. They all can occur: system crashing, and then some local errors and transaction errors, and that means you're doing some mistake in your coding, and you try to abort the transaction. These are all very common types of failures that can occur. So when all these four different types of failures occur, the system, it should have enough backup to recover from the failure. That is why we say recovery is required. Fifth and sixth, of course, if this will not happen much frequently, but if these kind of errors happen, then recovery is a major task. Okay, it's not very easy to do the recovery. But these four different types of errors occur, then system should have enough backup so that the transaction or the corresponding execution can be restarted, can be resumed at some point of time, can be undone, rolled back and done again. So all these possibilities are there for these kind of failures. But disk failure is a major failure. Physical problems, of course, if you have a major catastrophe, then it is a major failure, and recovery will be a major task. Any questions till here? Any doubts? Any questions? Anyone? So we try to see why concurrency control is needed, and what are the problems that arises because of which you require a concurrency control. And we also saw why a recovery is needed, and whenever there is going to be a failure, there will have to be a recovery. And what are the different types of failures? What reasons can cause failures? What are the most commonly occurring failures, and which can be really system can be up and running based on the backup that is there, and there can be some failures which are really major and requires a major recovery task, right? And any questions on what we have covered for today? I think that is where we stopped. We started with this concurrency control. We saw some examples of general transactions, and then we went into the three problems. What are the last update problem, the temporary update or the dirty read problem, then the incorrect summary problem. Then we went into what is why recovery is needed, the different types of failures. Any questions? Any doubts on this so far? For your second internals, which is scheduled from 26th, 27th, and 28th, syllabus will be half of second module, that is from functional dependencies normal forms based on primary keys, that is the normalization and all that. So that from there, that whole thing and module 3 full. Okay, that will be your syllabus for your third internals. Fourth and fifth module will be for third internals. Okay, am I clear? So because second module we had not finished it fully for, we had not taken it fully for the first internal. We had done only up to ER diagram and relationships and so on. From functional dependency, we had not included it. So for this second internal, we will be starting from functional dependency. So functional dependencies, normal forms based on primary keys, all that we have covered under that concept will be there. And the third module full. Okay. Fourth and fifth will be for third internals. I hope I'm clear on that. Answer your attendance, Anaga.
Yes, ma'am.
Abhilash.
Yes, ma'am.
Akhil.
Yes, ma'am.
Akrut.
Yes, ma'am.
Anusha. Anusha is not there. Okay. Arvind is not there. Arifullah.
Yes, ma'am.
Benaka. Banu.
Yes, ma'am.
Bhargav.
Yes, ma'am.
Rahmatullah.
Yes, ma'am.
Chaitra.
Present, ma'am.
Chandana.
Present, ma'am.
Darshan.
Present, ma'am.
Charan. Charan is absent. Right. Darshan. Yeah.
Present, ma'am.
Yeah. Diksha. Diksha is not there. Dakshayani.
Present, ma'am.
Kishan.
Present, ma'am.
Harshit. Harshit is not there. Emma.
Present, ma'am.
Huma.
Present, ma'am.
Jayant. Jayant doesn't join. Divya.
Yes, ma'am.
Kaushik.
Present, ma'am.
Lakshmi. Lavanya. Manish.
Present, ma'am.
Manoj.
Yes, ma'am.
Mohit. Mohit isn't there. Naval.
Yes, ma'am.
Navya.
Present, ma'am.
Nikhil.
Present, ma'am.
Pavindra.
Present, ma'am.
Pavan is not there. Pooja.
Present, ma'am.
Purnima. She is not there. Raman.
Present, ma'am.
Rashmi.
Present, ma'am.
Deepak.
Yes, ma'am.
Sai Kumar. It's not there. Samir. Santosh.
Present, ma'am.
Brother. Heather.
Present, ma'am.
Sharan.
Present, ma'am.
Shashank. Shashank isn't there.
Present, ma'am.
Didn't call you at all here. Sheetal. Shivani. Soumya.
Present, ma'am. Present, ma'am.
Spurti.
Present, ma'am.
Vishnu.
Present, ma'am.
Sugandhini.
Present, ma'am.
Ushma.
Present, ma'am.
Sushmita BS.
Present, ma'am.
Sushmita U.
Present, ma'am.
Tirtha.
Present, ma'am.
Tripti.
Present, ma'am.
Varsha Veena.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Lavanya present, ma'am.
Okay. So Shashank is absent. Sai Kumar. Purnima. Pavan. Mohit. Jayant. Harshit. Diksha. Charan. Aravind, Anusha are all absent. Right. Okay, students, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.